Good morning, everyone. Thank you for attending our today's session on navigating Windows 10 to Windows 11 as part of our Solution for Success education series. We run this monthly webinars, 30th of each month. So make sure you visit our future events as well. So for today's our agenda for today, just a little bit about Point Alliance for those of you that you're not familiar with our organization. Talk about Windows 10 end of life, Windows 11 system requirement and compatibility, benefit of upgrading to Windows 11, strategies for managing large scale migrations, ensuring security and productivity post transition, additional resources, and upcoming events. And of course, at the end of this webinar, we also have a draw for Amazon gift card, as was mentioned in our LinkedIn post. So thank you for being here. About the Point Alliance, my name is John Zeri. I'm CEO with the Point Alliance. You can find me on LinkedIn. Point Alliance has been in business since 2002. We are Microsoft solution partner. We have designation in 4 different areas with the modern work, security, digital and app innovation, Azure, data and AI Azure. Our team is 100% Microsoft certified, and we'd be happy to help you with all your Microsoft Cloud needs from end to end. So as you are all aware that the Windows 10 end of life is fast approaching. Just a while ago, we were saying it was 2 years away, 1 year away. Now it's just around the corner. So the date for end of support is October 14, 2025. And after that, the Microsoft will not release any updates or critical updates for the Windows 11. So what we need to do, again, depends on the size of your organization and the scale. We want to make sure we are prepared for this, right? So we don't want to be caught off guard and running last minute. And there are different areas you need to be aware of those things. So it's just not that, okay, October is, 8 months away or 7 months away, I should say right now. And we have plenty of time. What do you want to kind of look into that thing? Of course, the security is a big concern these days, right? Because there are lots of bad actors, and you don't want to have your devices unprotected during that time. So that's very important with those security updates. Again, upgrading to Windows 11, you want to make sure your users are ready for that. And to kind of mitigate the risk involved with that. And again, number one, security. Then the second one is adopting the Windows 11 because again, it's very similar, but at the same time different for the user, and every organization is different, and it change. So if you decided that you said, you know what, our organization is very big and we are not going to make it the date, Microsoft does have an extended support phase that you can pay for that. And that's only will provide you with the essential security updates. So that's a paid per device or per user. You can purchase those licenses. So in case there is a situation, again, there is some support it is, but it is going to be at pay, and there's a cost involved with it. So when you trying to do this, then you need to kind of do a transition planning because we want to know that are our devices are compatible? Do we need a new devices? What is our software is available or not? So when you look at that, the planning is very important, and you kind of build a plan and do a reverse dating on that thing. So okay, in order to achieve that date, where it's supposed to be today. So the planning is very important for this. So Windows 11, as similar it is that to Windows 10, but there's a different requirement and the compatibility things they need to especially on the hardware. So again, you want to make sure that is a 64-bit processor. I would imagine most of the devices has been purchased over the last few years. They are 64-bit, but that's something you need to check. Do I have enough RAM on the devices? And in our experience with our clients, most of the devices that they have, they are compatible, but there are cases that they are not. Do we have enough storage on the devices? So that's what we need to do. One of the part of the planning is to kind of go through this hardware requirement to make sure that it is compatible when you do your planning. We are having the links at the end of this presentation that provide you with the information on that. So you can run a program that made available through Microsoft. If you're a Microsoft Intune user, those information also is available from your Intune portal. So you can go to the portal and look into the compatibility and kind of see, okay, what's my devices are the Windows 11 ready or not? And that could be based off the different aspect. It's not just the hardware, could be also the software running. Again, you might have the software that they are compatible with the Windows 10, but not with the Windows 11. And you don't want to be surprised about those things. And you want to make sure that you go into the process. And you might kind of had software that you're not on a maintenance mode, and you need to look at those as well. That are they working that? And the best approach is that, especially for larger organization, you do have a test device or multiple test devices that run those application and test them, or even reach out to the vendors, kind of look at the version you have and look at the compatibility of that software with the vendor to see if the software is compatible or not. And the other problem is that sometimes when you need to upgrade the software, maybe the software interface is changed, the way that they manage your information is changed. So there's, again, in likelihood, there is not much need to be done, but you never know. And again, the whole thing is about planning, is that not to get caught off guard and delay your upgrade process. The other thing that is also happening, because lots of people doing upgrade at this time, there's a shortage of hardware, right? So again, it's not like you can order anything and everything that you need and you get it tomorrow. So that's also, you need to look into that for the availability of the hardware, for budgeting the hardware, and so on. Once you do that, again, just addressing the compatibility issues I mentioned, identify the issues, hardware upgrades that you might need to do, and a software update, as I mentioned. So again, those are crucial, and that will time consuming, because if you get a new software, you need to test that. If you get a new hardware, if you're using Intune or device management, it's easier to enroll them. If not, some organization with a large number of devices, they need to image this thing. So that means they need to test the device to make sure it's compatible, um, uh, and create an image for that. And that's also time consuming. As I mentioned, 7 months seems lots of time, but at the same time, depends on the size of your organization. It might not be. So other than the fact of that Windows 10 is retiring, and we all need to move to Windows 11, but at the same time, why is that? What's the benefit of upgrading to Windows 11? So again, there's enhanced security features built into that, and it's very important. Is one thing that we secure all our environment and our infrastructure and servers and cloud and so on, but endpoint is this as important as the rest of our infrastructure, especially in the hybrid work model, that people are not in the boundaries of the office, people working from remote locations, and again, they're running from the networks that you have no control over, or and so that's what is very important, that you have the hardware that is fully secure. Especially, again, I keep mentioning the word, the Microsoft Intune is a Microsoft product that really works very well in conjunction with the Windows 11 to make sure your devices and the users are well protected. The encryption capabilities. Again, Windows 11 record TPM 2.0 and plus. And in our experience, any device that was built over the last 5 or 6 years, they do have a TPM 2.0. That's why you want to look into that as well. On top of what we mentioned about the size of the hard drive and a memory and a processor, that's very important too. Otherwise, you will not be able to encrypt your hard drive with a BitLocker with a TPM 2.0 or higher. Secure boot features, again, is available with the Windows 11. So they really done lots of work around the security, which is the highest concern for most organizations these days, the security. Next thing is the improved user experience and interface, right? So the interface is very nice and clean. That you access and think the navigation, the move the taskbar right in the middle, the way you find things, the layout very intuitive, the simplify the menus. If you have used Windows 11, again, it takes a bit of getting used to it if you're going from Windows 10. But again, I think the adoption rate is very quick, and people very quickly take a liking to the Windows 11. By the way, as we're doing this thing, if you have any question on those things, please just put it in the chat or in the Q&A, and we're also kind of monitoring those, both of those. We'd be happy to answer any question you might have. Productivity and performance enhancement. Again, these are just a few sample. There's lots of the features available from a snap layout for multitasking. I like that a lot because, especially if we're all running like a larger monitors, be able to have that kind of running like almost having a multiple monitors there. For the one that also use the devices for the gaming, that definitely it is enhanced gaming performance with the Windows 11 there. Support for the heavy application if you're working on the large Excel or Access files, and it does help with for professionals to run the OS is optimized for heavy application as well. So you do definitely see a difference with that from Windows 10 to Windows 11. So as we discussed, kind of what we need to do a planning for larger scale migration is a bit different, right? So it's not like you need to just upgrade 5 devices and can be done all in the afternoon. You need to do it with a larger organization. You need to kind of evaluate the current environment to make sure, because if you're dealing like with 100 or few hundreds of devices, yeah, you're going to be going in the co-migration type of things, that you have certain devices still running Windows 10, some running Windows 11, and you need to have them in a hybrid mode that your team is supporting both environments. You have to make sure the application is supporting both environments as it goes through that thing. And we keep emphasizing and creating a migration roadmap. That is very important, that you have a roadmap in place before you start to do anything, to make sure where you are today, where you need to be, and what the goals need to be achieved in order to be successful and meet the deadlines. And hopefully, uh, you aiming to kind of complete this task by end of September and leave the first few weeks of October just for the uh, in case you run into the issues with the some devices and so on, but the goal should be really complete this by end of the September. And again, there are organizations like Point Alliance or that will be able to assist you in case you do need the help outside your team, that maybe your team is already a spread team and they need support. And that's what the Point Alliance come to the picture, that you can reach out to our organization and we can help you with all these steps here as well. Communicate timelines, and that's very important to keep the users in the know to see what's happening. The more they know, and they kind of make them to look forward to the upgrade, because there's lots of great features, new enhancement that will affect them. So again, that's be great. And also maybe perhaps you want to do short training sessions. Sometimes we run sessions like in the town hall mode, right? It's not like a 5 people or 10 people in the room. We got the dozen of people, and the people can ask the question, because again, as I said, Windows 11 is very intuitive, but at the same time, probably it would be a benefit to kind of run this the training session, maybe even half an hour. We call them lunch and learn, that kind of walk the user through some of the ways to navigate and find things, because it's a slightly change, and it's changed for better, but it still will help the user to know, not to struggle if they're trying to find something. A phase rollout, again, if we talk about the large organization, need to be phase rollout. There is no way that you can do them all in one shot. And again, especially with the hybrid work that most organizations run in the larger scale organization, and not everybody's in the office. So you can't really reach out to the desk and do this thing. So you need to plan them, organize that, when they're going to be in. It's going to be a bit of downtime, right? So what the user going to do during the 1 or 2 hours that you might need the device, or maybe doing an in-place upgrade or so on. So you need to plan for those things. What we're going to do is just make sure the users are productive during that time. Maybe that's a great time to kind of invite them into the office, and the training can happen as they are being trained on how to use a Windows 11. Your team also working behind the scene, operating the devices. So you really take advantage of the time and be as efficient as possible. Pilot testing would be great too. As I mentioned, that you should have some test devices, of course, to start to run it with your IT team. But after that, perhaps even choose a few of your key players with the organization to do the pilot testing, because there's certain uh, configuration and the customization can be done to Windows 11. Anything from background to location of the start menu and so on. And so that's perhaps might not be a bad idea. It depends on the level of the customization you have. And take advantage of the pilot testing and user feedback integration to kind of make sure that your staff know and they're heard. All right, I think we have a question. All right, so there's a couple of questions that were asked. Do you mean Windows 11 use more RAM than Windows 10? Uh, Again, the requirement for RAM is only 4 gig, but I think these days, because of all the application and heavy use of those things, anything less than 16 gig, any device will be struggling. Again, it's different from home use, that maybe you said 4 or 8 gig is enough, but for a enterprise or business use, we definitely always recommend the user at least have 16 gig of the RAM on the devices. The next question is that ask that David says that he has used Windows 11 and it was slower than Windows 10. What could be the issue? You need to look at your hardware, right? It could be the processor, their their Intel processor, AMD, what version it is. Again, there's lots of option for processors these days as well with the Windows 11. And now you got the Qualcomm, you got AMD, you got Intel, and yes, in my experience, again, depends on the type of users you have. If you kind of need to decide that are the users are power users or not, and give them the right device. But if the person that it just only does email and maybe use Word, they could with the i7, for example, processor would be good. But for the heavy users, you probably want to go with the i7 or go with a higher version of AMD or a Qualcomm processor as well. Yeah, the more would be the more power you throw at it, the better gonna perform. All right, so as we talk about this tools, so those things, the resources from the smooth migration, there are deployment tools available there. Microsoft provide lots of user training resources as well. If you go to Microsoft Learn, and there are lots of this information is there that you can share with your team and kind of help them through the process, and to kind of you want to take advantage of all the tools available, training that kind of create a smooth transition. So ensuring security and productivity post-transition. Again, lots of the new security features available, especially if you're with Windows 10, you are on the 1 year behind the major upgrade, because they did not release any major upgrade Windows 10, and Windows 11 just had a new one. release. So again, you will see a difference and that the new future upgrade, more security feature available, and you want to make sure you take advantage of it once you move to that thing. And again, hopefully using some device management tool that allows you to manage this stuff, right? Because if for a large organization, I would say even an organization more than 10, because people are working hybrid and remote. If you're not using a device management tool, yeah, how could you be sure that they're running the latest updates? Or how can you enforce that people run it? Because we run in a situation that the message is there that reboot your laptop. Meanwhile, they have not even rebooted a laptop for weeks or months. You'd be surprised. So you do want to have a proper device management software in place. Again, our recommendation using Microsoft Intune, which is integrated to the uh, Microsoft 365 and using the Microsoft Azure for the underlayer security. And that's the best choice, but the other tools are also available. So that's very important because, again, as I mentioned earlier, the bad actors are trying to take advantage of any room to kind of infiltrate the users. If they get to the device, they're going to get to Outlook, and from Outlook, they could interfere with the messages and so on, and grab your cookies. One thing we also discovered last year, even with the 2FA, that which is very effective, if the user's machine was compromised, the bad actors were able to hijack the 2FA tokens. And if the 2FA tokens is not expiring frequent enough, the, they would have access to be able to log into your accounts through the cloud because they hijacked those things. So it is very important that you have an end-to-end security protocols in place and devices are as secure as the rest of your infrastructures. That's why the training is very important to make sure that users are aware of it. The security awareness training, we run that once a year. I think that's very important. It's kind of reminder. All is a common sense, but we need to kind of follow those things and get reminded. I use the example of it, you know what, we are not supposed to use our phone when we drive, right? And if we get caught, we kind of say, I'm never going to do this again. And you get reminded. And of course, that won't last more than a few days, maybe, I mean, luckily, maybe a few weeks, and you're back on it again. So that's the same thing, too. We kind of get lax about that security, and the training is very important. So there's lots of the resources for adoption. They provide the kind of resources that's available that you can share with the users, and ongoing support, you know, that you want to make sure that devices are managed. Monitoring and maintaining system performance, again, you need tools like device management tools for this again. Right? You can't really have your devices out there and users without a device management tool. Really, you're risking your organization. So you need to be able to kind of monitor those things. Again, with the tools like Microsoft Intune, we can even look at it that if people click on a suspicious link and the device might be compromised and so on. So you want to be proactive and not reactive. You will know as soon as it's happening. For the devices and Windows 11, there was some mention in the question that the performance is not good. There is a performance metrics you can look into that. Why is a device? It's possible the device might be faulty at some cases too. But if there are multiple people complaining about the performance, you can look at it as, okay, why is this happening? And that's going to also be in planning for the new devices and replacement. You can now have a right insight in place. So you're not doing that in dark. Regular system check, of course. You need to have a tool behind available because you want to be proactive, not reactive. Again, the conclusion, it's very important to have a smooth transition because your team members are always busy. You want to make sure that you bring the downtime bring it as low as possible. Check the system requirement. So that's easy to do, kind of run the reports to make sure that where you are standing, you should do that as soon as possible and take advantage of support and benefits. So additional resources, I will share this deck with on our website, and also the recording going to be available on our YouTube channel. So this is a link to lots of great resources here. Windows Update for Business reports, auto patch, endpoint analytic. You can kind of run this to kind of get a better idea of your devices, delivery optimization, and Microsoft connected cache. So there's lots of great information available to you. Just make sure you check it out. Again, this will be posted on our website at pointalliance.com under events tomorrow. That's it for our upcoming events. As I mentioned, we run this session third Tuesday of each month, and so please feel free to register. Our next session is about from file servers to SharePoint, and we'd love to see you there. So, and again, if you enjoyed today's session, you can scan this QR code and give us a 5-star review on the Google. We will love that. I want to leave that for a second. And meanwhile, as we have this one, so the last thing is that we're going to do our giveaway for the Amazon gift card. So what I need you to do, we have about 80 or 79 people online right now. What I need to do, if you raise your hand through the Teams, what that will do, put a number beside your name. And we're going to do a draw on the wheel. So based off the number you are, that will correspond. So just go ahead and raise your hand, and once we have the majority of people, we're gonna move into the wheel. Yeah, you can find that one on top of your navigation. There's a picture of the hand, just raise, just click on it. That's all you have to do, please. Again, I hope you enjoyed today's session.